Hey fellow gliders, welcome back. I'm Robert Petito, and in this video we're going to continue on our series with Monetize Your Glide app. If you haven't yet watched the first video in the series, I recommend pausing now, looking at the description below or right over here for that link to the first video, so that way you can make sure that you're caught up before moving on to this video. Go ahead and do that now. All right, I'm going to assume that you watched the first video, and we're going to continue on. As a recap, in the first video, we showed you two different ways to monetize your app, either through one-off payments or through some sort of regular subscription method. What we haven't shown you yet is actually setting up the payment links to make that happen. So in this video, we're going to show you how to set up that payment link, and then later how to configure your interface to allow the users to access that payment link right within your app, so that way they can subscribe or create these one-off payments without skipping a beat. All right, let's get started. In our last video, we created two different layouts, one to accept one-off payments when we wanted to have our users purchase content individually. The second being subscriptions, when we want our users to be able to subscribe to our app as a whole, and then be able to unlock, let's say, premium content. So to accept one-off payments, we needed to create a table called payments, where we're going to accept the payment information to verify that a user indeed purchased that content. And for subscriptions, what we did is set up a few columns, subscription columns and some payment columns, to accept when a user has subscribed, to make sure that the user has a recent payment, that the payment was successful, and that the status of the subscription is active. So in our video today, we're going to create the payment links that will ultimately feed these columns. To get started, we're going to create a Stripe account. Stripe is a secure and very popular online platform that will allow you to accept payments from your users. Now, if your country doesn't allow the use of Stripe, you're going to have to find a different payment platform to make that happen. In our video series, we're going to leverage Stripe and another third-party no-code tool called Payhere to actually integrate the payment link directly into our app. So we're going to head over to stripe.com and create a new account. Stripe allows you to create an account and connect your financial institution for free. The only time that you get charged is when you charge your clients. So Stripe's pricing here, you'll see, is 2.9% of any transaction plus 30 cents. So again, as you know, if you're operating a business, you do have to spend some money in order to make money. Now, it might take you anywhere from 10 minutes to 30 minutes to set up your Stripe account. I've already set up mine and have connected my financial institution. You can also go in there and customize things to your liking. You can set up branding. And when you're done, ultimately what you want to do is make sure that test mode is turned off. By default, it's turned on, but you can't accept live payments until you've turned test mode off. So I've already gone ahead and done that as well. After setting up Stripe, your next step is to create the payment link. Now, Stripe does allow you to create payment links directly within their platform. The issue is that Stripe does not allow you to embed these payment links directly into your app. This means that if you only wanted to use Stripe, you're going to have to create some sort of button within Glide that will navigate your users outside of Glide in order to make a payment, and then your users will have to find their way back into your app in order to continue on with the experience. So I'm not in love with that user experience. So instead, what I like to do is use another third-party tool called Payhere that talks to Stripe. And Payhere will let you create payment links that can be embedded directly into your Glide app. So the trade-off here is that Payhere provides a more seamless user experience at the cost of an additional 2% per transaction. So altogether, between the 2.9 and the 2, you're paying about 4.9% per transaction plus 30 cents in order to have a seamless user experience for your users, whether it's for these one-off payments or for subscriptions. So that being said, we're going to head over to Payhere and we're going to create a new account. As part of the sign up process, you'll enter a little bit of information about your business. You'll say get started. They're going to email you a verification link. You'll click on the link. It'll take you back into Payhere where you can complete the setup by connecting your Stripe account. I've already gone through that process, so I'm just going to go ahead and log in. Now, a little bit of lay of the land in your dashboard. You can see your payments, subscriptions, and customers. In order to customize your branding of Payhere, you'll want to head over to settings and personalize your Payhere experience by uploading a logo, choosing your primary colors, your payment gateways. In this case, we're connecting Stripe. If you're collecting tax, make sure you set that up here. And then when we're ready, we're going to set up our payment link. So we're going to head over to the Payment Links tab at the top. Now, your Payment Links tab is where all the magic happens. It's here where you can set up coupons and create new payment links. Now, I do want to talk briefly about coupons. So I'm going to click on Manage Coupons. The coupon code is whatever you want it to be. So if we wanted to offer 20% off in June, I could say June 20. Discount duration is how long the user will have this discount for. So if we say forever, that means every time they get charged for a subscription, it's going to be 20% off. We might not want that. We might only want the very first month to be 20% off. So in that case, we'll just choose once. They get that discount just once at the time that they use it. And then your percent discount should probably match whatever your coupon code is. So I'll say 20 and then say create coupon. And now we have a June 20 coupon that we can give out as part of our marketing. All right, let's head back to our payment links. And we're going to create our first payment link. So I'm going to say new payment link. And you see that there are 3 different types of payment links that we can choose from: subscription, one-off payments, or donation. As the name suggests, subscriptions will be recurring payments. One-off will be just a one-off payment. Donation, you can choose whether it's a recurring or a one-off. Now in this video, we are going to show you how to do each, both a one-off and a recurring subscription payment. But for both cases, we're going to use the donation payment link type. That's because when we choose subscription, or if we choose one-off, we have to set the price. And that price becomes permanent the moment we save our changes, which means we can't go back in and change the price afterwards. It also means that we can't dynamically set the price. It's going to be what it is. And if we want to make changes, we have to delete the payment link and start over again, which I don't want to do. I much prefer to have the price be set by the Glide app telling the link how much the payment should be. So in this case, we're going to do donation because a donation link is a special type of Payhere link that will allow you to set the price dynamically. So we'll click on donation, and then from here we're going to specify a payment link name. We can also change this name and the description dynamically as well. So don't feel like you have to come up with something super creative here. For us, just to keep things organized, we're going to name the payment link the name of our app plus what type of payment it is. So I'll say Payhere, which is the name of our app. Then I'll say one-off. Now the description we can also set dynamically, but for now we might just say access to premium content. All right, scrolling down, we're going to say it's a one-off payment. Currency would be US dollars for me, but you feel free to choose one of the currencies that Payhere supports. Now we're not going to save changes quite yet. We're going to head over to custom fields and enhance our payment form a bit. You see that our payment form right now is accepting the payment, credit card information, and customer details. Now for a one-off payment, we only need one additional custom field, and that's going to be the row ID of the user. So in this case, I can type a text field. We're going to make it required, but also hidden, so that way it doesn't show up on the payment link itself. We're just going to pass this value on the back end. And we're going to label this as user ID. Now I highly recommend, just from experience, when creating labels in Payhere, that you create a label using all lowercase letters, no spaces, no dashes, no punctuation. This is going to help with just compatibility between the Glide app and our payment link. Lastly, before we hit Save Changes, we're going to head over to the Advanced tab. And it's here where you can customize your form a little bit more. For example, the Pay button text, if you don't want to say pay $0, but rather something like purchase for $0, we can say purchase for, right? The receipt text is going to be the text that's included in the receipt to the customer. So if you want to give them additional instructions or so forth, you can do that. In our case, we don't need to check any of these except for maybe the allow coupon codes. And then lastly, we're going to need a webhook URL at some point. We're going to come back to this in our third video. All right, for now, we're going to go ahead and hit Save Changes. And now we have a new Payhere link. I can copy the URL right now, or if I close down, I can always copy it later by clicking the Copy URL button for the link. To see what this looks like, I'm going to go to a new tab and paste that in. Okay, we see that we have a nice payment link here where we can accept an amount, credit card information, and customer details. In our Glide app, we're going to want to populate all these fields automatically on behalf of our users. So that's what we're going to set up now. So back in our Glide app, in this scenario, we're going to configure our one-off payments. That means we need to create the payment link dynamically at the item level. That way it can reference the price and the name of the item that we're purchasing. So in our data table, we're going to come over to our items list. I'm going to navigate to our one-off column grouping. And Payhere actually wants the price in cents. So we need to add a math column here. I'm going to go ahead and just duplicate this column so I can just copy the column grouping easily. And we'll just call this price in cents. Type is going to be a math column. And we're going to type the price times 100. Okay, so this is our price in cents. So now that we've crafted our price in cents column, we're going to go ahead and create our payment link. To do that, we're going to create a construct URL column. So again, one more time, I'm going to duplicate this column just so I can preserve that column grouping, and we'll call this payment link. Type is going to be a construct URL column. So if I search for URL, it'll be the computed construct URL column here. Protocol will be HTTPS. If you leave it blank, it'll default to HTTPS, so that's one less thing we have to type. In the host field, we're going to go ahead and paste the Payhere URL that we did from the previous step. Now, because HTTPS belongs in protocol, we're actually going to remove it from the host because otherwise you can see what's happening here where we have this double HTTPS thing going on. All right, so I'm going to get rid of that. And then we're going to take this last little bit and throw that in the path like this. Okay, the construct URL column does not want any trailing or leading forward slashes, so we're going to move this forward slash here. And now we're going to set up the query parameters. The query parameters is what's going to allow us to pre-fill the payment link and also lock some things in place, which is going to be super necessary for our app interface. All right, so the first one here is going to be the amount in cents. Now, all of your query parameters are going to be a snake case, which means you're going to use the underscore in between words. So query parameters here, we're going to start with amount in cents, like this. And then we're going to select our price in cents. Okay, next, we need the customer name. So we're going to say customer underscore name, and that's going to be our user profile name. Next will be customer email. So customer underscore email. And again, that'll be user profile email. Okay, now we want to lock the customer fields in place because we don't want them to edit their name or their email. Otherwise, we might have mismatched things going on here. So we're going to add another parameter to lock those, but we're going to say disable underscore customer underscore fields, and we're going to set that to yes. Not only do we want to disable the customer fields, but we also want to disable the amount that we are putting in here. We don't want our users to be able to change the amount for the item that they're purchasing. So we're going to add another parameter here, and we're going to call this hide underscore amount. And we're going to set that to yes as well. Next, we're going to set the user ID. So remember, we created a custom field for that. So we're going to add a parameter. And anytime you add a custom field in the Payhere link, you have to start off your parameter as custom underscore field underscore, then the name of the custom field. And that's why I had said before that we want to make sure that your custom fields are just all lowercase, all one word to make this step super easy. So we had said user ID. So we're just going to say user ID just like that. And that's going to be our user profile row ID. So we'll select user profile and, oh, we don't have a row ID. Let's go ahead and add that real fast. I'm going to save our work here real fast. Save, come over to users, and we're going to add a row ID. Save. All right, back to apps, back to our payment link. Okay, and now we can select that user profile row ID. Okay, the last couple parameters we can set are the link name and the link description. So our link name can maybe be the item that they're purchasing. So we can add a parameter here, and we can say link underscore, I think it's title actually. And that's going to be our title. And then we're going to add a parameter and say link description. And that can be our description of our item. All right. And if we hit save, we can go ahead and test out this payment link. So I'm going to go ahead and copy one of the payment links here. Open a new tab and paste. You see all those query parameters are in here. All right. So if I say return, all of our things should be locked now. All right. So we have here that it's $1, right? This is the name of the item that they're purchasing. Here's the description of the item. Here's their button to pay. Here's where they can put in their credit card information. And then you see here's the customer details with their name and email, and it's locked. I can't edit this information at all, right? I also can't change the price. This price is locked. It's because the amount is hidden in there. So when they see this screen, they'll just go ahead and pay, and away you go. Now let's go ahead and display that in our app. All right, so back in our app, we want to display this payment link in order for them to purchase the item. So in our layout of our app, scroll down and find an item that they would have to pay for. And then you want to create some sort of call to action, right? We did this in the first video where we set up this container that contains this call to action when the user has not yet paid for the item based upon logic in the payments table. Okay, so this purchase now button is going to be the one that we set up here. So in our button block, right, we're going to go ahead and set up an action for them to see the pop-up to pay. So for this, it's going to be a show new screen. So I'm going to change our show notification action to a show new screen action. And I like this to be in the slide in. Okay. All right, so when they tap purchase now, they're going to see a slide in. We're going to get rid of all of these default components in here. We can name this title something custom, like purchase item. And then we want to have a web embed. So we're going to scroll down over our list of components and add a web embed component. And this web embed component, as you might guess, is going to point to our Payhere link, this one-off payment link. And there's our payment link. Look at that. So here's they can put in their credit card information and they can then purchase. And then when they purchase, we're going to create an automation in our third video. So make sure you stay tuned for that, where they're going to send that payment information back to Glide, and then it'll change some logic. So that way this payment link will actually be hidden, and then they'll know to actually be able to see the content back over here on the other side of the screen. Okay, so when they pay, we want to hide this payment link. So we're going to set a visibility condition on this payment link, okay, to show up only when their query user payment is empty, meaning they have not yet paid. Because once they pay, that query will no longer be empty, and then it'll hide the item. Now, when they pay, this payment link will then be hidden, which then means that they're going to see an empty screen. So we're going to want to fill this screen with something to let them know that they paid, they can go out and continue to the content. So what we can do here is add maybe a hint component. We'll add it above the web embed here just so we can see it. I'm going to set the mood to success. And let's give it an icon of like success like this. And we can give them like a little thank you message. And then we can add a call to action, like access content. And this will just be a close overlay, because at that point they can just close this overlay down, and they'll have access to the screen behind it. Now we only want to show this hint component when the query is not empty. So under options, visibility, we're going to set this to where the one-off query user payment is not empty, like that. So that's how you create the payment link and the interface to manage one-off payments. Next, we're going to show you what to do if you wanted to create subscriptions. In our subscriptions tab, we have content here that's just premium content, right? So once they subscribe, they should get access to all of the premium content. Okay. We've already faked that I have access to it. So if we go into my user profile, I'm going to change my next payment at to be last month. So that way it thinks that I'm no longer active. So because of that, if I were to access any of this premium content, again, we see that we need to subscribe now. Now in this case, our payment link isn't tied to an item, but rather is just tied to our user profile. So when we create our subscription link, we're going to create it in our user profile tab. All right, let's head back to Payhere and set up that subscription link. What we can do is just duplicate the one we had created before. And instead of Payhere one-off, I'm going to call this Payhere subscription. And again, access to premium content, fine. This case, it's not going to be a one-off payment, but rather recurring. So again, it's going to be a donation and then recurring type. And here you have to set the billing interval. Now, unlike other fields that we can preset inside of our construct URL column, we can't set this one. So if you want to offer both a monthly and a yearly tier of subscription, you have to create two different payment links and then give them the option to choose one or the other. For sake of time in this video, we're just going to create that monthly subscription link. All right, so we're going to choose month, and then we're going to choose currency, US dollar. Right, all of the other ones should be the same. So billing, right? If you want to offer free trial, you can. Custom fields, we still want the user ID in here. We can maybe get rid of this purchase for and instead just get pay dollars per month. If you want coupon codes, again, you can check this box. And in our third video, again, we're going to set up our webhook URL so we can get this payment information back to Glide. All right, that's it for now. We're going to hit Save Changes. I'm going to go ahead and copy this URL. Okay, back in Glide, we're going to create another construct URL column, but this time in the user profile table. Okay, so I'm going to just duplicate one of these subscription groupings, and I'm going to call it subscription payment link. Again, type is going to be a construct URL column. I'm going to paste it in the host here, get rid of the HTTPS, copy this path name, delete that // and then we're going to add all of our parameters just like before. So here's where we're going to just do a quick magic trick, just like that. So the difference in how we set this up is that we didn't have to reference a user profile row ID. We could just actually reference the row ID here. Same thing with email and name. The amount in cents, I'm just hard coding inside of this value, but this could certainly be a dynamic value as well. If you wanted to offer some people like a discount or something like that, this could be set dynamically. And again, link title and description, I just wrote something, I just kind of hard coded something in here. But again, this could be taken from someplace else as well. All right, for now, I'm going to hit save. And now this is the payment link that we want to display in our app. So back over here in our layout, we're going to make sure we're in the subscriptions tab here. I'm going to visit one of these items that require premium access. All right, now we're going to change this subscribe now button from show notification to show new screen. But what's going to be beneficial is if we create a new action altogether. That way we can reference this subscribe now screen from other places in our app in case we want to drive traffic to subscribing. So instead of show notification, I'm going to say actions for apps, and we're going to create a new action. And we're going to call this show subscription screen. Okay. And what we're going to do is change this show notification to a show new screen. And again, we want to make it a slide in, and done. So now when we push the button, it's going to give us this default screen, which we're going to clear and replace with a web embed component that's going to point to our user profile subscription payment link screen. And again, there is our payment link. Everything is locked in place. And we're going to do that same thing where we only want to show this if they haven't yet subscribed. So our visibility condition is going to be slightly different. Under options, visibility, we're going to show this only when the user profile subscription is active is not checked, which means they're not active and then should see the payment screen. Okay. And then again, we're going to show a hint component at the top here. We'll make this success. And we'll say, thank you for subscribing with an action to access content. And this will just be a close overlay. And we only want to show this hint component when their subscription is active. Is checked. All right, between last video and this video, you've now created the logic, the payment links, and the interface for accepting one-off payments or subscriptions based upon your type of monetization preference. The last thing that we need to cover in this video is how to allow your users to view their payments or manage their subscription. To keep things easy, what we're going to do is just create a dynamic link to the Payhere portal, which will allow your users to sign in and view their payments, view their subscriptions, manage their subscriptions in case they want to change their credit card information or cancel the subscription altogether. We're going to craft that inside of the user profile table. I'm going to create a new column here and just call this Payhere portal. Again, it's going to be a construct URL column. Okay, the host is slightly different. It's going to be app.payhere.co. And then the path name is going to be customers/sessions/new. And then what we want to do is provide the query parameter of the email address of the signed in user. So we're going to say email and then select the email of the users table here and then say save. All right, so if this user goes to visit the Payhere portal, right, it's going to ask them to sign in. It automatically fills in their email address that's being used by the app. They'll click on sign me in, they get a link, and then they can sign in directly through that link. So all we have to do is provide this link inside of the Glide app. And I think the best place to do this is inside the user profile screen. So we're going to go ahead and access the user profile screen over here. We'll say view profile. Okay, and then we can add perhaps a container. We'll make it a card container. And inside this card container, we'll add an action button. So action row. We can change this action row to a title style. Let's say the title can be either manage subscription or view payments, depending upon your monetization preference. I'm just going to choose manage subscription here. And the label can be maybe a description of what they're able to view. And then this action button can just send them to the payment portal. So instead of this copy to clipboard, we'll say go. We can give them a little link arrow. And this will be an open link where that link is the Payhere portal. So upon clicking go, they'll be able to visit the Payhere portal and manage their subscription or view their payments. All right, so theoretically, our app is all configured the way it needs to be in order to accept payments and provide access to our premium content. The last step is to be able to automate this experience. So in our next video, we're going to set up our automation so that way whenever a payment is made, all that information is going to hit our Glide app so that way users can get access to the content that they need. If you have any questions at all about what we did in this video, feel free to leave me a comment below. You can also find me in the Glide community forum or reach out to me at x@rpetito. And as always, thanks for watching.